Okay, says I'm live. So let's see what it actually does. There we go. All right. And after boomerang my way through it a little bit, as if I really needed a case study. This morning I said, don't piss on my head and tell me that it's raining, and really don't get mad after you do when I call you out on it. Well, I had no sooner ended that stream when this comes up. Justices Gorsuch, Sotomayor, and Roberts blow up NPR mask story by Nina Trottenberg. No. It's worse than you think. Okay, I'm not going to get into the hows and whats any further than this does, but Justice Neil Gorsuch said that the story from National Public Radio, NPR, which is, by the way, taxpayer supported, Nina Trottenberg, that he refused to wear a mask despite being asked to because of Justice Sonia Sotomayor's health is false. Okay, well, he's denying it. That's all. Justice Sotomayor also said that the NPR story by Trottenberg is false. Oh. Well, okay. That's both of them saying the story's false. This is not good. NPR's response to the statement from the justices was to say that they did not refute the details of the reporting. Trottenberg's story was Chief Justice John Roberts who made the request of Justice Gorsuch on behalf of Justice Sotomayor. Well, okay, that's not professional of her. I mean, they're colleagues. She should be able to say, hey, put a damn mask on. And not have to go to Dad and ask him, he's not wearing a mask. Make him stop. Right? But it is what it is. Oh, wait. Chief Justice Roberts has now also said the story is false, and he did not do that. Oh, no. Uh-oh. Now I'm going to skip past this. Ladies and gentlemen, I am now reading this for the first time. Let's see what the real story is. There are other holes. Oh, no. In Nina Trottenberg's story that caught fire in the last 2 days, spawning hundreds of separate articles, meaning tweets, and even editorial cartoons. And though the holes were pointed out very publicly, most outlets ran with it anyway. It was widely reported, but not fact-checked, not even by CNN's Daniel Dale. Okay. So Nina pissed on the head of a member of the Supreme Court and then said it's raining. And when he said, no, it's not, she got upset. But it gets worse. Can you believe? Yes, it gets worse. Because then somebody else stepped up, the so-called victim, and said, no, it didn't. It never rained. What are you talking about? And then when she said, well, no, it was raining, but you may not have been exactly the rain. The Chief Justice stepped up and said, no, none of this happened. This is all bullshit. But rather than just step up and say, you know what? We made a mistake. We should have backed down and not listened to this crazy bullshit. The other news outlets decided, oh no, this sounds good. We're going to go with it anyway. Only one journalist, Fox News Channel's Shannon Bream, actually checked out the story and was first to report that a source rebutted the entire premise. Bream reported that no mask request was made by Sotomayor, no mask request was made by Roberts, no mask request was rebuffed by Gorsuch. There was no there, Bream reported. Okay, now this ties into a tweet that I skipped over. I don't fuck Twitter. All right. If you're on Twitter, you're wrong. I worked very, very hard to get Twatter Death Road. And I am proud of that. And I only wish I could have taken down a much bigger fish. But moving right along. Bream reported that no mask request was made by Sotomayor. Bream's report was summarily dismissed and ignored by most of the media, and the original story continued to be reported and repeated, uncorrected throughout the day. You know, actually, I heard about this. I remember thinking, what? Aren't you all vaxxed? Aren't you all getting tested? Aren't you surrounded by people who are also getting tested? What's going on here? Why do we need to worry about this? But now we know why. I was so confused about this nothing story. It has now been debunked by all of the Supreme Court justices involved, including the supposed victim herself. Wow, gee. Still, unlike the fake news about Justice Sotomayor dining out without a mask that was pushed in conservative media 10 days ago, this is the first I'm hearing about it, folks. The blue check crowd has yet to demand retractions, nor have there been any soul-searching articles about gullibility or confirmation bias, nor any scolding of NPR or Totenberg. Okay. I got to ask, where did Totenberg get this if everybody involved, and literally all 9 people involved are saying, no, this didn't happen. What are you talking about? Oh no, it gets worse. NPR and Totenberg, meanwhile, still stand by the debunked report. It appears they will hang their refusal to take the justice at their word on the sole reasoning that Totenberg used the words in some form when writing Roberts asked the other justices to mask up. Nevertheless, the original and still uncorrected report from Totenberg says definitively that Roberts asked. Roberts says definitively that he did not. Gorsuch and Sotomayor both say definitively the story is false. They did not say only one part of the story is false or any implications of a specific interaction is false. They, two attorneys, justices, said in a declarative statement, it is false. They left no wiggle room, nor did Chief Justice Roberts. Wow. Just wow. Lady, you pissed on their heads. And when they said, you're pissing on my heads, and told them it's raining, and when they said, no, you're pissing on our heads, you took offense? You got mad? Just own it. Just own it. Step up and say, oh, I'm sorry. I'm wrong. Just end it there. No. Gotta take offense. What are we doing here? Really, what are we doing here? All right, how did we get here? I think we'd all. Yeah, I think this would be very instructive for everybody to find out how the fuck we got here. Okay. There's the old adage about a lie can be halfway around the world before the truth gets its pants on, or wakes up, or is aware, or whatever. And this is a beautiful, beautiful example of the lie being halfway around the world to the point where I don't give a shit, really, and I don't want to hear about it, and I still heard about it. And now I'm hearing about the rest of it. And I'm at the point where I just don't even care. In some form, didn't happen either, did it? And we're seeing a whole lot more of this. Gab and Discord are exploding with a certain individual who did actually lie to members of Congress about how Fauci lied to Rand Paul in that very, very heated exchange that they had. I object to everything you've said. Well, yeah, but I'm not lying. You are. It's kind of ironic because it's all hanging on these leaked emails, which I'm pretty suspicious about leaked emails, to be honest. I've seen how easy they are to forge. And one of the things about Fauci emails that bothered me for a very long time, and I only just a couple days ago, it finally clicked in my head what my problem with it was. Why would Fauci keep an email that said telling everybody else to destroy all of their emails and then not destroy the email himself? That one specifically, himself. For those of you that have played Fallout and Fallout 2, more importantly, you'll know about not Lenny, but Francis's letter. All right. Francis gives somebody a letter saying, drag the humans down into the tunnels and kill them there. And this time, burn the damn note. Okay. The player finds the note, and you can either take it to Francis and blackmail him and he goes away, or you can take it to Marcus and say, here's the evidence. Francis was killing people down in the tunnel. Marcus says, oh, wow. This is a friend of mine, too. Now he's got to go away forever. Why would you not burn the notes? It's not like it's hard. You have a send box. You can delete everything out of there. And in your send box is even drafts. So if you didn't send it, but you started working on it, you're going to have it sitting there until you get rid of it. I know because last year I went through my drafts box and holy shit, that's a mess. Because I would start an email so that I could use that to edit a post for Facebook or Instagram or wherever the hell else it had to go. Oh, excuse me, guys. Yeah, that's better. Or wherever the hell else it had to go. And then I delete everything. And so I have this empty draft sitting there. So, oh, shit. I should probably get some of those out of there. That is my real problem with the Fauci emails. Why would he keep the email that said destroy emails? That doesn't even make sense. It takes 2 seconds to remove that from your sent box. And literally all that does is serves as a big flare that says, hey, look over here. There's something over here you need to see. What is it? Well, something that's over here, but we don't know what it is because we got rid of everything. I know my Iran theory is extremely unpopular, and I'm okay with that. And it is a theory. I understand that. Um, those that are in lambasting it so hard, you know who you are. Yeah. Oh. Sorry, guys. Give me a second. We have a bot in the chat. Remove. Go away. Eat shit and die, bot. Where was I? Another thing about the emails. Hey, Alpine. I'll come back to that in a second. Another thing about them, from what I've been able to gather so far, what I've been able to see so far, all they really do is say, well, we know how it was done. During World War I, the U.S. Army deployed to Europe with this new wonder weapon called the Browning Automatic Rifle. It's a 30 caliber select fire box magazine, 20 round detachable box magazine. I believe it was 20. Go ask Ian if he says something different. Just listen to him. It was just this absolutely new, exploded thing. All right, it was lighter than anything, much lighter than anything the Euros were fielding. It was at least as effective. Oh, it would have been a game changer at every level, right? The U.S. failed to deploy them. Why? Because we knew that our first couple of battles would not go well. We would have to learn how to fight in Europe a hard way. And so we wanted to hold that back until the next year so that we could just hit the Germans so hard that they'd break, hopefully. And they wouldn't have time to capture a few and figure out how this thing worked and put it back into the field themselves. Because that's what had been going on all the way through the war. The British would come up with something, the Germans would copy it. The Germans would come up with something, the French would copy it. The French would come up with something, the Austrians would, Hungarians would copy it. Round and round the circle went. Each side literally learning from the other based on planes that crashed behind enemy lines or new guns that were captured from the enemy. That's how the 50 caliber came into the United States. We got a couple of Tinklevers and a couple hundred rounds that had been captured by the British. They gave it to us and said, hey, here, you figure out how this works. Right? That was just part of the game that everybody was playing. The Germans did it to the French, particularly the Stahlhelm. Oh, excuse me. The French came up with the first practical infantry helmet. The first practical infantry helmet came from a cooking pot. And one particular soldier, he cut his cooking pot up so he could put it on his head. It was not a great helmet by any stretch of the imagination, but he got shot in the head and survived. The Germans eventually got their hands on this and said, hey, this is a pretty good idea. let's do the same thing. And that's how the Stahlhelm came to be. Before that happened, though, the French did field a slightly more practical infantry helmet. The British fielded their own infantry helmet, which I think had a lot of the same protective characteristics. Basically, the French and British design was to protect against shrapnel coming from above. The German helmet was to protect from bullets coming straight at. Okay, all right, fine, that's the way it is. And that's all those Fauci emails reveal. Somebody figured out how to make this thing. Doesn't mean they did it. I don't think that's the quote you're looking for. All right. Many, many years ago, I do call myself the mandatory carry faggot. Yeah, I do that. Many, many years ago, a friend of mine, who was a gun control supporter, forwarded an email supposedly from Shannon Watts, where she called me a faggot. Oh, okay. Correction, she called us these mandatory carry faggots. Okay, well, it's good to know. I'm not even gonna lie, I was butthurt about. Well, no, at this point I was not. At this point, I was kind of dismissive. Well, she could have put that word in all by herself. So a couple days later, she sent me a screenshot, and it was not altered. It was no different. It was the exact same language. Well, now I'm really butthurt. Now I'm butthurt. And I was for a couple days, and then I burned off, and I was like, you know what? You want to call me that? I'll call myself that. And fuck you too. And then I saw how emails can be altered. And, oh, hey, Luke, and exceptionally well altered. The thing, I don't want to talk about how it was done, but somebody showed me, literally demonstrated using a different email on a different email address. I don't even remember what it was about. It was spams anyway. I think it was spam. So it doesn't matter. But he literally sat there and showed me how he could make the exact same email read anything he wanted. Oh, I see. Now, I think my supposed friend was telling me the truth. Well, no. I want to believe my friend. But I also know that, yeah, you can alter an email to read a whole lot of things. Oh, Gulch, if you knew what my real language could look like, you'd be absolutely shocked and astounded. And not happy. Believe me, this is still my good behavior. This is also not in the context of quoting somebody or behind closed doors discussions. All right. So this is the afternoon stream, and it is very dependent on questions, so please ask them. Question nobody ever asks. Where is Sasquatch? He's actually live right now at the same time. Damn it, he took my time slot. I'm going to ask a question. I'm actually doing the workup for the April Every Second Matters posting, uploads, whatever. So if you have a gun-related business or activity or somebody you think deserves a shout out, mention them. There's a couple I already have in mind that I'm going to mention that particular day. Generally speaking, I want to focus on either very small channels or businesses, or on nonprofits. Y'all, it's not a secret. Y'all know I love walk the talk and hold my guns. They don't love me. That's okay. I'm okay with this. And by the way, that's the way it has to be anyway. I wouldn't want their love. I'm going to be mentioning them. So if you know somebody who deserves a little love, let me know. I'll look at them and make a decision. Oh boy. All right. I'm just going to kind of chatter a little bit more for a couple of minutes. I mentioned long time ago for the Get Home bag, getting goggles. Okay, I see that. Now I will address it in a moment. And I said put them in a case. I couldn't find the cases. I had only found them one place. Well, I found them again today at a sports store. It is literally chums.com. How do you get goggles? Yeah, I mean, that sounds like a stupid question. It's really not. You could get motorcycle goggles, which is what I have 2 pairs of, clear and dark. You could get sports goggles, which I also have a pair of, 2 pairs of, dark and clear. But a much simpler one, at least during summer, swimming goggles. Yeah. They're also generally, other than purpose-built, combat goggles, generally speaking, the best. And they will break down into the smallest area, so you can put one in your pocket. All right. What happened to Drew's channel is it got nuked from orbit. They nailed him for a couple of copyright violations, or what they call copyright violations. Since I don't know what he got into trouble for specifically, all I can say is he got nuked from orbit, and he's telling me that it was over copyright. And he's rebuilt the channel. If you want, I can send you a link, and you can go check him out. All right. Question: do they make fireproof goggles? Seems important. I'm sure they do. I've never seen fireproof goggles before. I would guess that that's a firefighter thing. I'm sure they exist. I've never. remember, I was a shipboard firefighter, so I should know something like this and never heard of it. Um, so maybe, but no, fireproof goggles are not that important, actually. What you want is goggles that will protect you from smoke and gases and liquids, um, pepper spray, uh, uh, tear gas, that sort of thing. How much protection will swimming goggles give you against tear gas? I don't know. But think about it like this: they protect your eyes when you're swimming, and that's a lot more pressure than gas. So they should be okay. Let me get back to you about that. Uh, Luke is saying welder's shield. You won't be able to see anything useful. And the gases can still get in behind. It will protect you from liquids, though. So, um, and it would absolutely be better than nothing. You don't need a gas mask, but if you can afford one and you can realistically carry one around, well, don't let me stop you. I just don't think you need it. There's a lot of shit in that bag, and I'm going to go over that someday. Somebody said you need, and I said no. I'm saying no, you don't. I have right here. This is something Papa Carey gave me and insists that I need. Binoculars. Where the hell am I going to be that I need binoculars? All I need to do is stop and listen. Do I hear rioting? Do I hear fire engines? Do I hear buildings burning? No, then it's probably okay. And I'm not going to see out far enough for these to do me any good. There is a time and a place where these will come in handy. My get home bag is neither nor. So this is actually part of my bag for display purposes only. Um, and the people that say things like this, they mean well, but they're not worrying about getting home. They're worrying about something else that is much more complicated, and a little bag is not going to help you there. Big bag is not going to help you there. And if you can't see fire in a built-up area, um, and you walk into it, you probably were just not paying attention. What comes to mind right now is Seattle in 2020, right? Um, uh, at Exile Lioness, there was a fire literally outside her home or her house. That's why they had to move out of that neighborhood. Or at least that's my understanding is they had to move out of that neighborhood because of that fire. Okay, this just has gotten insane. Um, how did you blunder into this fire? Now it'd be one thing if it was Paradise, California in 2021. 2021. No, 2019, excuse me. Um, People literally woke up and the fire was inside of city limits. But then you're not looking for fire anymore. You're looking for where there's not fire. Just go away from the fire if you can move that fast. Unfortunately, the campfire, people couldn't move that fast. Under the heading of pissing on my head and tell me it's raining, I knew some of the people that died in that fire. All right, call them friends. And, let's not get carried away. But these stories that you might still see floating around about directed energy weapons and the government set the fires and blah blah blah. You should be reporting those stories as you find them. The government set the fire. This is a legitimate video of a helicopter dropping fire into the middle of a forest. And I'm just going to concede that maybe it's Paradise 2019, right? I'll concede that. I have absolutely no reason to believe that that's not true. What they were building was a backfire. You burn off material so that the fire dies. It exhausts itself. It burns up the fuel that it has because you burned up all the fuel in front of it. And this little faggot is not the worst word I know. This little individual, that tells you how bad I think of him, is saying that the state of California or the feds or whoever burned these people alive and set the fires. Hey, Black, you should have been here this morning. It was awesome. No. They were trying to stop the fire. Okay, I'm gonna get mad here. It's been 2 years and I'm still gonna get mad here. There's another one. A car that got burned up in the Paradise Fire. And you can see there's bodies in this car. They died. They are dead. Is this my old classmate? I don't know. I have no way of saying yes or no. Car has clearly been burned in the fire. And okay, that happened. He says that this burned out car is proof that the government used directed energy weapons because they obviously died. Fuck you, you lying little shitbag. They got caught in the fire. Smoke got into the compartment, got concentrated, in the compartment, suffocated them. They probably just passed out. And if they'd known what was really going on and just opened the doors, they probably would have been in better shape. They might not have been fine, but they would have been in better shape. But they just passed out. And then the heat of the fire itself killed them. Or maybe they suffocated in the smoke of the fire. You know, the thing that really pissed me off, this friend of mine from grade school, she had children, and they are still unaccounted for. Her babies died, and this little bastard's making money off of telling you that the government did it, used directed energy weapons. I gotta stop now. Okay. All right, it's been pointed out to me that the fire in Boulder, Colorado was bigger than the Pasadena fire. Pasadena? Okay. I know Pasadena was big. I'm not aware of anybody dying in Colorado, though nobody's told me everybody survived. And Pasadena is not Paradise. They're like 300, 400 miles apart. what makes huge difference between Boulder and Pasadena and Paradise is when Paradise happened, it was 2 a.m, and there's only 2 roads through town. One of them being where the fire started. It's not even the campfire, it's the Camp Road fire. So one of the escape routes was already cut off, and nobody knew what was going on for at least a couple of hours while this thing whipped out of control and turned into a literal fire tsunami. I met somebody, him and his sister were pot farmers in Paradise, and that's legal. Okay. They thought they were fine. They were well inside city limits. Well, then he sees this wall of fire about 100 feet high, and he realizes, oh, we had to leave hours ago. Because nobody knew that this was serious until it was too late. Oh, and by the way, they'd been up for about 30 minutes at this point. And yeah, that's dark. And no, I already ruled out DEWs. That didn't happen. Yes, DEWs exist. No, they're not going to use it on a fire. And they're not going to set a fire with one. They got better things to do that with, including common matches. I'm not even joking. I'm not going to get into it too much, but you could have set that fire with common match and made it look exactly the same way that it's described. No, Bulch. Paradise is out towards Chico, California. So find Sacramento, find about a third of the way from Redding south to Sacramento. That should be about Chico, and then go east at about an 85-degree angle. That's Paradise. There was no escape route. Nobody knew what was going on for a couple of hours. Oh, Jesus fucking Christ. And by the time anybody knew what was going on, it was basically too late. Remove. Okay. All right, we're coming up on about 45 minutes. YouTube is saying there's only one person watching. I know for a fact that there's at least 3. And I think I'm going to wrap it up with this. First of all, every Thursday morning, 0800, every Thursday afternoon at 1700, bring questions, many questions. I love questions. I really do. And keep calm and mandatory carry on. And